Stay connected to Larry Reid Live. Take a moment and like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube page, and hit the bell. Text Larry Reid Live to 33222. That's the words Larry Reid Live, no spaces, to 33222, and get notified when we go live. Become a member of Patreon today by logging on to patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Download the Patreon app and turn on your notifications. Get connected today.
Even though he has not always been protected, he's always been a protector.
Broken people saw that signal and done what they thought they needed to do to the request that I was making, and they just chose improperly.
He never told me nothing. I knew nothing about it.
I feel like everyone in my family, in some form or way, has been fondled or molested or raped in some form or fashion.
I couldn't understand how God was in me because I was that.
Larry was tolerated versus celebrated.
There's a wrong way and right way to do everything, and Larry always seemed to choose the wrong way.
Yes, I was drugged and raped, and that happened when I was 17 years old. Misfits have an ability to stick out. But if the misfit accept that they absolutely cannot fit in, then they become someone with an X factor. Reading Things My Way Season 2 is underway. But in Season 2, I got a feeling it's going to be a whole mess. And I want to go ahead and apologize right now for some of the things that is going to be said and some of the things that is going to be done. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
What did I feel about Thanksgiving dinner? I was super nervous about coming to Thanksgiving dinner because
what does that have to do with the fact that she left me?
What happened before I left?
The car.
What happened before I left?
It don't make no difference. You there.
You threatened her, Reid? No, they had hot sex
Brought me
in the
before
bathroom.
I left.
Is that so?
Hot
So,
sex.
we-
That's what you came back. Right. Well, Shamako is the same Shamako that he was in the first season. Ain't no different.
I'm taking your advice, and I'm stepping the hell out.
If Mako is impatient, he's going to speak a certain kind of way.
He's been his typical self, being all impatient, and it just sent me over the edge.
Really? See, that stuff, when I'm talking, you make those kinds of faces. Shut up with it.
Girl, let me tell you, these motherfuckers is crazy.
We went through the Reid family and our little group from Season 1. I don't know if they ready. Because every and anything that they have not discussed and went through, oh, it's coming out of this show.
Introducing Larry D. Reid.
All right, welcome to Larry Reid Live. My name is Larry D. Reid, and I'm the host of Larry Reid Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is part 19 of the church and the pandemic. I can't wait to get into this conversation because tonight's conversation is all about tomorrow, a day that was prophesied about over 2 years ago. America's black prophet of God to the whole wide world, the Archbishop E. Bernard Jordan, came on this platform and began to have a conversation with me 19 times. After tonight will be 19 times, and we discussed what the Spirit of God had revealed to him as America's black prophet of God. I am so honored to be able to be the platform out of all of the churches and all of the media outlets. This platform was worthy to showcase this gift and what God has done and is doing through him. Let me tell you a story. Long time ago in North Carolina, God began to move over the state, and out of two families came two prophets who are now friends. I call him my mentor and my spiritual father, and he calls me mentee and son. And it is amazing to me how our lives have been one huge work of prophecy. And now there is a compounding of prophetic energy and sight that is leading so many people into a prosperous future. And we've heard from thousands of you from all around the world who have been thanking us for the direction that we have been giving you from February 2020. That's right. Right here on this platform. There was a word that came from the Lord. If you in the chat, sound off so these folks know I ain't telling no lie. I saw in the spirit that we would be having this pandemic when they were saying that it would not be. I said, we are all in masks. And I began to tell them they will be lying on the TV saying that this thing is going to pass. I said, don't believe the talking heads because they will not be telling you what is good for you. And then I told them it is airborne, but they will lie and say it will not or it is not. And all these things began to come out. And then one day on the phone with my mentor, and we're discussing it. One of his spiritual pupils, prophetic pupils rather, came to him. Spiritual Pappy, you prophesied and you wrote many years ago about what's happening now. And so he began to search and download and look at the books. And ladies and gentlemen, it has shocked us what we have heard. And he began to go through this book. And you can even get the audio. Well, I don't know if you still can get the audio, but I know one time there was an offer. I don't know if it's still on the site now. And you can listen to these prophets and you're going to think, no, this man sat down here and wrote this book the day here in the year 2020. It was so specific. But no, that's the power of prophecy. And then in addition to that, when we began to do part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 19 out here public, but there's so many parts that are private in my Patreon exclusively. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something. The one thing you need to do tonight, is you need to make sure that you get into Patreon. Patreon, patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. Let me tell you why. In those conversations over there, the prophet, the arch, Bishop Bernard Jordan, goes even farther. And then there are other experts that have been pouring, doctors, and even those that are therapists helping us through this pandemic and the change of all things forever. I want you to put in the chat, this is the change of all things forever. Type it in the chat, everybody. This is the change of all things forever. Over there in Patreon, God began to talk to my mentor even about the stock market, and letters fell out of the sky more than one time. I tell you, I feel like it was like what's that? You go out there and you play the machine. Lord, I thank you. Them letters, one of them invested in options and puts and this, that, and the other, and started educating the whole community about the stock market, along with another expert, L.R. Eller, and now a member of really this prophetic company that Jordan has of prophets and experts around here and prophetic scientists. Her name is Rosalind Weems. And she began to share with us. Man, it's more than what I can explain to you. But this is what I want to be sure that I say to you tonight. In the Black church, so many times, we have a tendency of killing those who do not sound and look, and maybe their methodology is a little different than what we are used to. That is the arch, E. Bernard Jordan. And as a result, there's so many things that they missed. Divine, supernatural knowledge and wisdom that comes out of the mind of God. Sometimes I say this man is not just a prophet, but a prophetic scientist who looks over data and begins to see patterns and be able to give direction about tomorrow. And that's in addition to the ear that he has to hear the voice of God, who then begins to say to us, and God said. Man, this is amazing, and it is great. And I'm so glad that Larry Reid Live has been the platform where this voice can be at home and say exactly what needs to be said. This is tonight is the compounding of the convergence, I like that, of prophetic sight. There are things that are going to be shared tonight that are going to give you direction for your business. If you are a church, of course, for the church, because it's what we're doing it for the church, first thing. But wherever you are in the world, you need to take this link right now, send it out to everybody. Say, girl, you need to get over here and listen because the prophet is talking. The master, oh my God, I built something. The master prophet, the arch, E. Bernard Jordan, he's on tonight. And listen, let me tell you what's so powerful about tonight. Tomorrow is the day that was prophesied about and said there will be a significant change. A significant change to 22-22. Now, if you say what you want to say. I know they got some spectators and speculators, but this was the man that said this almost 2 years ago, I think it was. So we're going to see what the Lord is saying to him. Are you ready? I want you to get ready. You should be sitting on the edge of your seat by now. Get your notepad. You might need to record. Get your recorder. Because this here, I'm going to tell you, that's why we're a little piece late. Not a piece. It's because there are 2 studios here at the residence here. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent. Actually, 3 studios. But 2 of them are for video and video. One is a streaming and one is a sound stage. And we have had one difficulty after the next, and there's no explanation for it. I said, okay, all right, I'm going to do it like this. And so I'm in the sound stage studio, but it still looks good, but it ain't right. It ain't right. But everything is in here, and we're continuing to build. This studio here is getting finished. We're over halfway finished the studio in Miami. And we're going to be putting some more studios in different places. I've already got a new list of 25 people that are in the Miami area that I will be interviewing there. Coming here, having a conversation with them. But tonight's conversation is going to change your life. Are you ready? I want to see in the chat if you're ready. Say, I am ready. Everybody that's in here, there are 2,360 of you already here between YouTube and Facebook. Only 144 of you have hit like or share, and I need all of you to hit like right now. Right now, everybody. Bishop Jordan is in the chat on YouTube. Since you see his name, his YouTube name, click on this name and subscribe. Hold on. Is that ask Naomi, is that where because I think they come live on Zoe Ministry. They need to be in the chat in Zoe Ministry, because this is how you get a whole lot of subscribers. Then they be in the chat up on the whatever page they stream the YouTube on. That'll help the algorithm too. I'm ready. I'm seeing. I'm ready. Have you sent the link out? Send the link out. I'm about to bring them on. Did you call Big Mama? Call Grandma now. Pastor, the Norton left pastor a long time ago. He don't even, what he be saying, God ain't even told. You get to come over here where the prophet is at and get the word of the Lord. I know folk get mad when I say stuff like that, but this is my job to tell the truth. That spirit done lifted off your pastor. He was trying to drag you out there to the church in the middle of the pandemic when the prophet was saying that right now the brick and mortar is out of order. He ain't know no better. But make sure he ain't got no excuse now by sending him this here link. Send him the link so that he know. So he'll be in there proper line. Prophet, is that right? Prophet be over that proper line and saying stuff that God ain't bit more. That's what we say in the country. God ain't bit more says. So what? Okay, so both. If you see Zoe Ministry or Bishop Jordan pop up in that chat over there on YouTube, go over there, hover over and click subscribe. so that you can watch. And Bishop, make sure I'm gonna tell Bishop this when he come over here. I'm gonna do a proper introduction though. Let me go ahead and say this, Bishop, and let me say this, Bishop. Don't be giving away so much free on your platform, folks. You can't do that. I'll be having you over there in Patreon. That's when you get the secrets. I told Roslyn the same thing the other day. Y'all got to. I done sat out here and work hard. Don't y'all be handing out this stuff free? But anyway, we get to that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you my spiritual pappy, my mentor and my coach, the one that hovers in the spirit world with me in mind, giving me direction according to what God tells him. And I absolutely love him, all of his children, including Manasseh, his wife. Oh, what's that great hair lady I love? Prophetess Kelly. Oh my God, I love all of them. The Clarks, I love all of y'all, all of the helpers around there. I've fallen in love with all of Zoe Ministries. Now, and y'all in this chat, I know y'all love him too. So I want y'all to tell him in the chat, because he's going to go back in the middle of the night about 4 a.m. and he's going to you make sure you say, because he's going to see it. Bishop, Arch, whatever you call him, I love y'all. People saying, the Arch. I want you to put in the chat how much you love him and appreciate him. We're going to pour on the love strong every time you come over here, Bishop, because of what the white folk did to you over there at Charisma. We're going to make sure you know we're going to celebrate our black prophet of God to the wow. Welcome, Bishop Jordan. How are you?
Bless, Larry. How are you doing, Dr. Reid?
I'm doing really good. It was so good to see you and surprise you. Get that look on your face.
Yeah, we've been playing that look. You got me. You put me in the shock, and I have to recalibrate my brain to figure out what day I'm in.
Yeah, I love doing that. I absolutely love doing that.
I can see that, but I'm going to get you. Something is going to be in the back of my mind that's going to pop, and I'm going to.
Yeah,
I know what that feels like.
It's all right, but I'm gonna tell you why I do that, Bishop. The reason why I do it for the look on your face is number one. Number two is, you know how I am. I don't bend easily, and I don't change much. And I do what I want to do with my own beat, my drum. Mm-hmm. So if I get on the plane and fly to New York, you already know that it is serious, serious and absolutely pure love. So I do that so that you can know. I mean, because I don't have nothing else to give you. Yeah, I sow seeds, but I want you to be real clear about Larry Reid absolutely love and appreciate you. And so that's my way of doing it.
And listen, and we appreciate you. We appreciate your, I almost said your wife, your children's mother, and and the family. And Shamako, Kendall, Junior, Crazy Eddie. I mean, the whole family, the whole clan is, everyone is their own unique person and personality. And I can only imagine what your ministry was like in North Carolina before Atlanta. And then to watch God take you and cause you to evolve, to actually pivot in this next platform. And I mean, and I have sitting right over here, which I keep it close to me. Hold on. I know I'm out of the shot. There's a black book there. Give me that black book right there. Yes. Right there. See, I could have stretched all the way over here. This is my grandson. And then I have here.
Oh, Bishop.
I keep this close. And is Dr. Larry Reid. He came and dropped it off. His dissertation that was submitted, and he graduated with his doctorate degree. And a lot of what he did, he was actually leading the church into the future. And I meant to talk with you about this, Larry, because we need to really get ready to tell the church what the future of church look like? Because you can be having a correct word, but a wrong methodology. And if they don't shift their methodology, then their word is going to be forever lost. It's almost like doing revival, but doing it in a stagecoach and under a tent, while people at the time moved into cathedrals, but you still are on street corner in the local marketplace. But there's going to be a small number that you're going to get. Today, and this is why tomorrow is going to be significant in the eternal calendar of time, that this day has been marked long before creation began. And we have got to get ready for the next age, the next stage. And the people that look crazy in the process was Noah until the first drop of rain came. And so this is why we're here 19 episodes later. And we thank God for the grace of God, for the prophetic word that's been accurate and carried people through the pandemic. Now, the prophet E. Bernard Jordan led you through the pandemic. You're going to need the master prophet to take you through the endemic. Two different scenarios. So if you got a pastor, a spiritual leader, a wannabe prophet, a person that believes they're a prophet, a person that is prophetic, a person that has even missed it, they may want to just come in and just side-eye us tonight. Just be open. It's like being in a plane. Keep your mind open. One of the problems with this pandemic is those that had closed minds crashed. It's like this. Your mind's got to be like a parachute. If you keep it open, you'll land in the right field. If you keep it closed, when you jump out of the plane and everybody's going to have to jump, you're going to crash because the mind refused to be a parachute.
I think that's a powerful statement. And I know some people will probably hear that statement and it would trouble them a little bit. And I didn't even know that you would even make that statement, but that's why I said what I said when I was opening up. You need to be in the community where there is a prophet that is in the mastery when it comes to the prophetic, whose ear is really, tied to the mouth of God. Not only that, let me ask you a question, Bishop.
Sure.
Should all prophets be futurists?
All prophets should carry the word of the Lord.
Okay.
And the word of the Lord will speak to the future.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, sometimes that word will speak to the past and the present.
Mm-hmm.
We gave people what they needed to do in the present that preserved them for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Most people couldn't handle the future that we called for.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of backed off of that in a lot of ways. Like we told people we were going to be in the mass. And so I would say all prophets should give forth the word of the Lord. I'll say that. I believe futurist is a different type of distinction.
Okay.
All prophets are not prepared to deal with the future because you would have to be willing to be innovative as a prophet to dwell there. To me, that's the dwelling. So that's asking a person to go from being a prophetic voice, giving an accurate word of the Lord, but they may be sitting there saying, I'm not getting a Mac. I'm not going to get a brand new, apostolic phone. I'm not going to get an Apple. Okay. I'm not going to get a smartphone. They're an accurate prophet, but they're functioning with a flip phone.
Yeah.
The futurist prophet, which you have now distinguished here, to me would be the 5G prophet, which means that as 5G is turned on, we're going to have to upgrade our prophetic technology.
Yes.
There will still be people calling out names addresses, the location of where people are. But you need to upgrade your gift. Why? It's because my cell phone will tell me where you're located. My cell phone, I can go on your Facebook page, your Instagram, your Twitter, and look at your whereabouts and get your familiarity. Walk into a service and start calling off names in your friend pages and those that will probably be in the service. Doing that in today's service loses an element of the supernatural because you'll have people sitting there saying, I wonder how much of this is coming off of Facebook or social media because of what social media has done. The 5G prophet will have to begin to speak a word that social media does not have. And it would be like a word about your tomorrow that even you didn't know your tomorrow was going to happen. I was in a service recently in Florida where a woman stopped in the offering line, Dr. Reid, and says, you don't remember me, but you prophesied to me in the 1990s. I'm now turning around nervous because I don't know who this woman is. She says, you know Minister Fenty? I said, yeah, he was one of the ministers in my church back here 30 years ago. She said, I'm his sister. During that time, we would have children come and we dedicate babies. We do baby christening. When we dedicate babies, Larry, we didn't just dedicate them, we prophesied to your infant. We began prophesying. She says, you gave a word to my son that he would be a great singer. At that time, this was not mind reading, it was just a prophetic word. I said, so what is he doing? She said, he is singing opera all over the world. He is now in his 20s. That's the word of the Lord. Social media was not even out then. Social media couldn't capture that. We've got to have prophetic words now that is calling for an upgrade. So we don't went from 3G to 4G, now 5G. We need the 5G prophets that's going to, watch this, not predict a future, but create a future.
Create a future. Okay, so that is awesome. That is powerful. And what an answer to that question about a futurist versus a prophet with the word of the Lord. Okay, now, Bishop, it was in 2020 you began to come on the platform and you spoke about February the 22nd of 2022. I want everybody in the chat to type the date 22222. That's 2.22.22. Bishop, it was far-fetched, but we're here and it's looking like, and there, when I turned on my TV today, there was so much talk about the significance of tomorrow, even as it relates to a war. Sanctions. Tomorrow's the day this is supposed to happen. They're predicting that the Dow is going to open 5 to 1,000 points down. Tomorrow, how did you know?
Larry, you got the written judgments here. You promoted it more than any minister or platform in our lives. The word of the Lord is the word of the Lord, and God will do nothing but he confirms his secrets to his servants, the prophets. I told the people that after February 22nd or after 12 o'clock tonight, and I'm going to give you a preview, I'm getting ready to spell out the next leg of America's destiny. I wrote the Written Judgments, Volume 1, and it was a 4-volume. I went to write the 5th volume, which I destroyed because it sounded so crazy in the 90s. I was talking about flying cars. Today we are hearing about flying taxis, cars that are on the ground and will be lifting off. We're going into such a market in today's world that I believe when people look back, at 2022, we will not understand the world before 2022. Now, I know this is going to sound really crazy, but this sounds crazy in the middle of the pandemic when you asked about how long we'll be going. And we said, well, about until the end of 2022, coming into 2023. We will see. And we didn't say the pandemic would be over.
Right.
We said we will begin to see a new normal.
Right.
There were people when we said that in 2020 said, Bishop, we'll be out of this in 3 months. You know, I'm going to go with the prophets. I like the other prophets' prophecy. They told me we're going to be out of it by Mother's Day. One said we're going to be out of it by Easter. And we've had prophets that were in our own community that were prophesying the end of the pandemic. And I was, and listen, let me just say this. When prophets hear me, I don't be stalking any of your prophecies or whatever, but when you prophesy, all of the people are blending in all of our communities. We're a community. If you feel something like this, listen, let's come together and bounce it off of each other's walls. I mean, I'll hear something and I may say, Larry, you know, I'm kind of sensing this. What do you sense? Or he'll say to me, Bishop, I'm getting this. What do you say? Before I come and utter a word, there are people that I trust to say, let me bounce this off of you. And, you know, and then sometime there'll be a window of clarity and says, now I believe that's coming, but that won't come in the way that you may be looking at this to come. It may come in another way. And if you don't have those kind of company of prophets to kind of bounce things off, you're going to sound crazy when things don't happen. So when different prophets began prophesying, my phone start ringing. And then in today's market, they get the video and they start sending me the video clip. And they say, Prophet, this is different from what you told us. You told us in October that things was going to pick up. The prophet just said, the pandemic is over. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here saying, okay, listen, keep your mask on. I'll do something like this. I said, let me just look again. And I'll lift up my eyes and I said, no, keep your mask on. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get 2 or 3 other people calling me. And then now I've got to make an announcement to our community.
Yeah.
We don't say they're false prophets. We just say we do not take that as the word of the Lord in this season. Right. Keep your mask on, go to the doctors, get your vitamin D3 checked. A matter of fact, something else is coming. After that, 2 or 3 weeks later, Omicron. Boom. And so the prophets again come and says, Master Prophet, just Omicron, thank God for you being a true prophet. And, you know, and every time a word of the Lord comes to pass, our offering just goes up. People just start giving. They just start giving. I had someone send me 5,000 the other day. Somebody else sent me 10,000. Says, thank you for being a true prophet. This is not no game that we're playing. We are actually handling people's lives.
Yeah.
So every time you miss a prophetic word, it makes a person question a word every time you come out of your mind. Today, I was just locked in my room all day, getting ready to come to this platform, nervous. I mean, this is not something that I don't just jump up and do. I'm in the mind of God saying, I don't want to miss it. There's people that lives are hanging on this. People livelihoods is hanging on this. What would you have me to say to the church? Mm-hmm. I don't want to sensationalize the word of the Lord because I think that's a danger that a lot of us prophets can have a tendency to move in, that we're looking for the spectacular and miss the supernatural. The supernatural, Dr. Reid, is in the accuracy. The spectacular is in the drama. Wow. And many of us are looking for drama instead of just giving the pure word of the Lord. Now, when I give a prophetic word, you're probably not going to shout. There's no shouting. People are sitting there looking quiet, looking probably confused. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't, what did you just say? the pandemic was going to be over towards the end of 2022, 2023. Well, ain't nothing to shout about. Well, in a way it is, but you may not know how to interpret the data, which means that thank God we know what we need to move through. You were at the birthday celebration when we told people that come October, we will be in this next wave, that everyone will lose someone close to them or someone in their immediate family. And we will see people falling off the scenes. Well, we begun to see that happen. And we're starting to see it happen more.
And more.
Recently, a report came out that Omicron has had more deaths than the Delta did. Now, because you don't see it on the news and in the media, you may think everything is okay. Hear me, saints, people are still dying.
Yeah.
And when the news was coming out before in 2020, that was political. Your viruses and diseases and pandemics is political. There are political people making statements. Even to the opening of this country, this is political. It is not a health situation. If you ask the experts, they will tell you, keep your mask on, it is too soon. But there are people that need to get in office and their constituents want it over. You don't get to tell a pandemic when it's over. And I think that was one of the failures of the prophets, that they wanted it over and back in a brick and mortar. So they were no different than the politicians. They began to tell the pandemic, thus saith the Lord, stop it now. And you don't get to tell a plague when it's over.
Yeah. So with that being said, would you agree that in a real pandemic, we then begin to see manipulators to now do a plandemic, a scamdemic, and begin to really take this real disease and create all of these other thoughts of misinformation?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Most definitely. And it becomes political again. It becomes part of the politics. They begin to take it from a pandemic to a plandemic to conspiracy theories, even to the point that people were telling people not to get the vaccine. And I was looking at people, I says, you're really playing with science. I says, did you really hear the word of the Lord on that? I says, because what I see happening, when this opened up, I saw a third of life wiped off the planet.
Yeah, I remember that. You spoke that in 2020.
Yeah, I saw a third of life. And I still see it. And I'm not even an advocate for vaccine. I'm not a spokesperson for anyone. All I know is that I woke up one morning and the Holy Spirit says, go get the vaccine. My wife sat up in the bed and looked at me like she had seen a ghost. She says, you're getting it. You've been doing so well. I said, the Lord told me, go get the vaccine.
I remember, Bishop, when you came on the platform, we asked you about the vaccine. You were like, I don't know. Let's just see, if you're well enough, then fine, you get the word of the Lord on it. You weren't an advocate at all. So when you woke up and said you were going to go get a vaccine, I'm like, now wait a minute, maybe I need to go get one, and so that's when I went and got it. Question. This 22222, is it marking the beginning of a fourth wave? And would that fourth wave, in your opinion, require a fourth vaccine?
Okay. 22222 will mark a period of major upheaval and change. Now, this upheaval and change started in 2008. Now I'm going to begin to go back. It was calling for the change of society. In 2008, who became president?
Obama campaign of change.
Obama, which was also written in the written judgment, but told you do not rejoice.
Right.
But it would be a puppet upon the strings of manipulation, and the word of the Lord went on. It was marking a period of change, and tomorrow is the culminating date. That was almost the eve of the change. The change begins on tomorrow of like a new birth of America. Now, I know that many of you have not heard me go into this in this particular depth. When the President Obama began to run, his message was so prophetic. It was about change, change that we can believe in. During this time was the emerging forth of the Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement. Why was these movements all of a sudden birth? Because in this new America that is getting ready to be born, every promise that America has not lived up to is going to come due, and judgment is about to hit this nation for the inaccuracy of what it wrote on the Declaration of Independence, that all men would be created equal. It is going to be the judgment of racism, the judgment of sexism. This is why the situation with the George Floyd, this is why this whole thing with the police department, which now all needs a new conversation, because it's like your police department has become militarized, so militarized that it has almost become like the slave catchers of 1860. We are now in a day that the message from the pulpit has got to change, and has got to move from a message of domination and patriarchy. Patriarchy is on the line right now because patriarchy has begun to bring about an abuse of power. So America, when it started, took people's lands unjustly, wiped out indigenous people through diseases. All of a sudden, we have diseases that are coming, that are judging. And there is a part of this virus, hear me, if I be a prophet of God, my word will not fall to the ground, is going to make mockery of the vaccine. And this is the next leg of the judgment that is coming. There is a virus, hear me, that is on the way that will not respond to the vaccine, or respond very little to the vaccine, that it will be almost as if you did not even have the vaccine. And scientists are going to have to go back to their labs. So we are now in a season where everything is getting ready to come into the great period of the upheaval. The other thing that is on the line, Dr. Reid, and I'm prophesying now, is that democracy is on the line. And that if democracy does not become a liberating feature, democracy will be ended as we now know it. And you cannot say it cannot be so, because great civilizations like Rome, Egypt, the Byzantine empires, these great empires were great empire, Persian empires were great in their day, that today don't even exist. And that is what is on the line. And we're knocking at the door of World War III.
One of the things that I have, man, first of all, let me take a moment because this has been so prophetic as it relates to tomorrow. That statement you made about the brink of World War III, is it just what we're seeing when it comes to America's foreign dealings, or is this also a war that is happening in our own America?
Okay, so with what I see, we're going to have two wars on the front. We're going to have an international one, and we're going to have an internal one in the nation. Now, there will be a civil war, I'm hearing. Here we go. Here's the master prophet stretching out once again. That I believe we're probably going to start to see around 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm about 2.5 years in. That's going to be internal in its structure unless something shifts where we are. We may start to see I'm getting a kind of a check in my spirit about saying this right now. Sometimes, Larry, we're going to have to be mindful of things that we say in different atmospheres because we're going to be speaking things from God intel that is going to be too much for natural ears. And but we've got to get ready. And I'll say this because this part will be safe. With what is for the era that we're coming into, and every visitation brings a new wave of God or a new wave of visitation. So you remember, I'm going to backtrack for a moment. You remember when people would get saved under the old gospel tent?
Yes.
You heard of those days, right? Then you remember the days where they moved from the old gospel tent to having services in hotels, and there were camp meetings going on,
Yes.
right? And conventions and conferences, right? And they moved these conventions and conferences out of church buildings, and they were taking them more like in hotels and resorts.
Yeah.
Well, we're in another visitation because right now, the gospel tent seems antiquated. The outdoor camp meeting in amusement park don't seem to fit the model, and neither does the hotel. And right now, all of those are kind of health situations right now because the time has changed. We now got to get ready for the metaverse. We got to get ready for teaching like in these kind of platforms. Well, why are you saying that to us? Because there are people that are not going to make the switch over. There are people that are resisting social media, and yet that's where you got to fish for men today. There are people that must begin to preach the gospel in 68 characters and have a message that's effective in order to reach that generation. They're going to have those people that need to have a TikTok word, a Twitter message. Amen. Facebook has already become antiquated that they're trying to even shift their model because they know their model has been dated.
Yes.
And you're probably seeing it in your own algorithms yourself. The church hasn't even gotten to the place to look at the algorithm to know where the fish are swimming that Jesus told them to fish for. And this is why we've got to reteach the disciples how to fish for men. Jesus says, follow me, and I will
make you fishers.
Make you fishers of men, which meant that you were anointed to be an influencer. And if you are not being an influencer of this generation, you are becoming extinct in this next visitation of God. So the message is going to be a message of liberation, a message that speaks to sexism and racism. If your message does not speak to sexism and racism, to the movements that has emerged, if your voice cannot rise with the tide that is happening in the oceans of life, that is relevant, if you do not have a message about George Floyd, about the Emir that has just been second person sleeping while black, if you are not sprinkling those messages in your church is emptying out right now. You're sitting there with those mothers, but you're missing a whole generation. Your voice is becoming extinct. You're not becoming relevant. And let me go in one further. And you are beginning to become a part of the problem instead of the solution in this nation. Now, I want everyone to type this in. The greatest enemy to Black America, I want everyone to type in this. The greatest enemy to Black America is not white oppressors, but Black privilege. The greatest enemy to Black America, or in Black America, is not white oppression, but Black privilege. And as for those of us that have mounted the pulpit, and our privilege allows us to preach a message that makes our oppressors comfortable in our presence, that we become safe Negroes. And it allows you to go into doors because you won't talk about George Floyd. You won't talk about the sin of America, of what they need to repent of. You want to have a message on righteousness, but don't want to speak on justice. You are going to become extinct in this next model.
Bishop, I have a question because I'm listening to what you're saying. It sounds like it's almost like if you're not in the work of social justice, really the work of the woman, then you really aren't really in the work of the Lord. It sounds like that's what it sounds like to me.
Because you are not fighting for those in the margin. You know, in every one of our pages, we have the margins. We want to fight for what's on the main page. I want to get over here in Hollywood. So we seen this at the Super Bowl. They had this beautiful performance. I sat here and watched it. And then all of a sudden I saw one person take a knee, and it was Eminem.
A white man.
And I said, why is this white man taking a knee and all the Black folks are still standing? Black privilege. As long as you have Black privilege, will choose to be silent, you'll never get liberation as a people, because you are not free until we are all free.
Black privilege isn't what's wrong. It's not using your privilege to bring others above the scratch line.
Exactly. And thank you for bringing, and see, this is why I like having this discussion. Because if I was preaching in the pulpit, that would be that one statement made and people just run with it. But you and I are here having a dialogue. You were able to bring clarity to that statement. And that's why the prophets need to be speaking 2 and at most 3 so that the others can judge. And you need to be on platforms. And it's the day is over of the soloist prophet. You need to be in a company of prophets, an organization of prophets, And if you're the only prophet in your denomination, leave it because they're not growing you. You need to be with prophetic people. And thank you for bringing that. So Black privilege is when you don't use your privilege to bring the people. I'm forgetting who said it now. The faces right here in front of my I think it may have been Dr. Proctor, that says about bringing the people above the scratch line. But see, we must begin to understand the importance of moving the race corporately like the ships in the water. That as the tide is rising, and I'm getting into Hollywood, the tide is rising, and I'm moving up the ranks of life. Guess what? I'm not here rising by myself. I'm beginning to light the way so others of my people can rise with us collectively, because we must get out of this as a race and not as a soloist.
It's always been like the pattern in the Bible and in history, where one person is sort of touched by God to then sort of move the consciousness of an entire people and make life better for the macro. One of the things that I pay attention to in watching your life is that that's the work that you're in. Everybody in your community has been brought up and still being brought up because of the word of the Lord and the work of the Lord that is in your mouth and in your hands.
Yeah. And it's like this, Larry. I mean, you cover stories, and I'm just going to say this. You've been brought into the church for such a time as this to bring a radical side and to take a poker and poke us all in the church. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first time you started doing interviews with me, you just out of the clear blue brought up the situation about my own son. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. I had like a whiplash. I almost felt betrayed at that moment. But because I had did a lot of transformative work, as you know personally, I was prepared for it, and I was prepared to get cleared. Mm-hmm. A lot of our people don't know how to deal with failures in their family, and they take it personally and don't know how to give language to it. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you the one family, I'm gonna give the name of this family. I'm gonna tell you the one family that had a major upset in it and lost a large number of its family because of the stand of the head of that family. Mm-hmm. And that is Jehovah God. Lucifer betrayed him and then took a third out. Now, if you look at a third, if you bring a grade home of 66, you are considered a failure. Yeah. But yet, God never dismissed the downfall of his family, but continued to work with the earth and continue on its mission on earth. Jesus had 12. Out of the 12, 25% of them went the wrong way. Peter doubted him, cursed and swear, cut a man the ear off right before. And Peter was a gangster. I love it. Mm-hmm. Jesus loves getting the gangsters. Thomas doubted him. Judas, who handled the treasurer, betrayed him. And I think what has happened is we have not known how to have sit-down conversations about betrayal and be okay with it. Mm-hmm. This is all part of life. It's a part of being human. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is that we don't know, we hold grudges and don't know how to process it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it alienates us and locks us out of opportunities, when yet that was the thing that became the calling card to your next scenario in life. So why am I saying all of that? In this turn of events in America, everything that is inauthentic is going to implode. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the hour of authenticity and transparency. I don't care what you do, you can't get away from it. Everything now is public.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the process of doing a documentary right now, and we've hired a crew that we're doing a reality show. I heard the Lord say to do it because he says, you've preached one thing in the pulpit and lived something else in the street. He says, I want you to document your street action. So if people cannot follow your word, maybe they can follow your works. And Paul says we are living epistles being read of men. So your life is supposed to be read. Once again, Larry, you stepped into an arena. God has given us all social media for free. For what? To document. What has happened is we've had one wardrobe on in the pulpit, and we've been naked in the marketplace. And now God is saying it's time to pick up your standard, because I'm calling you to preach the gospel with your life and not just with your mouth.
I'm really excited about your documentary, because your documentary is going to allow us to get to know where you come from, what happened to you, and where you are and how you live your life now. I think your personal life and who you are as a person is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than every and any prophecy that you've ever spoken out of your life. You are, and I'm not saying this just to be saying it, and I'm devoted and committed to telling the world about what I know about this man. You are one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and one of the most Christ-like in your dealings and how you deal with different types and kinds of people. Now, you don't play when it comes to business and when it comes to that ministry, but who you are as a person, I mean, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And I think this is the reason why God trusts you with being one of the premier, if not the premier voice here in America when it comes to what is on God's mind and what he is saying to us. You've been that mouthpiece. As it relates to 2/22/22 financially, we understand from the political standpoint and from the disease standpoint, I think we're clear on that. Now, those of us that own businesses, that will include those that have started churches, financially, what is that looking like tomorrow for? We already know a little bit about the stock market. Well, those of us in Patreon, we are very clear on what's happening. What you think, Bishop?
Okay, so I scribbled down a couple of notes, and before we start, I want to ask people to definitely give a seed. I want to ask people to do an offering today. It would be robbery for you not to. And I'm going to ask you to do it in these numbers here that I want to give you. I want you to, because I've been doing it like this from the beginning of the year, and I felt impressed to say to people, I want everyone to do $222.22. For those of you that are privileged, you can do $2,222.22. And for those of you that says, I don't have it, but make sure you don't have the $222.22, then you do $22.22 today. And I want you to do the seed today and say, Lord, see me. Lord, see me. Now, you can do that right now. Go to LarryReidLive.com to donate. They have ways to do it by Zelle, by Cash App, by PayPal, all the different platforms. And I don't want to rush through this, or you can text to give 404-800-4530, or you can do the Cash App at $MBN Network. Go ahead and get your seed into the ground now. I want you to do that. And for every one of you that are doing the seed right now, I want you to just start doing it from all over the world. $222.22 seed. Don't question it. Just do it by faith. Because what I'm going to get ready to say in the next moment I believe this seed is going to come back to you in such a way that's going to be remarkable because right now this is worship. Worship, I know we get in trouble for this. Worship is not singing. I know you thought worship was singing. Worship is not dancing. I know you thought it was dancing. Worship is not having devotional service or the choir singing. I know you thought so. Worship is sacrifice. And the first time the word worship is mentioned in scripture is in Genesis chapter 22, where Abraham said, I and the lad will go and worship. There was no music. There was no drum. There was no instrumental choir. It was him and his son. And the worship was going to be his seed on the altar, which was going to be a sacrifice. And so today, you have an opportunity to sow a seed and make a sacrifice unto your Creator. Watch this. Because when you give, life gives to the giver and takes from the taker. And the beautiful thing is that if you don't have a supervising priest that has a revelation about giving, if you don't have a supervising priest that understands what to do with the teruma, or if the word teruma sounds foreign to you, download my Teruma app. I give you the book for free in the app, and that's T-A-R-U-M-A-H, Teruma. Download the app. It's for free. For those of you that looks to get something for free, get that for free. It has a book in it, and it will explain that, and it will show you how to give. And because who you sustained determines how you get maintained. Make sure your seed goes into the belly of the priest that prays for you. Watch this. Your tithe and your offering don't go into the same place, because your tithe take care of the house of God. Your offering take care of the mouth of God. Many of you have been taking care of the house, but you have not sustained the mouth. The house cannot command the blessing, but the mouth commands the blessing, according to Ezekiel 44, verse 30. I want you, everyone, to go and get your seed into the ground now of $222.22 seed. I when we were doing this for the year of the double, but I did not realize until you told me to write that date down, it is all 2/22/22. I just realized that today.
Bishop, when you were saying about, you said the Spirit told you to go back about 2008. With everybody who watched our live New Year's service, and I began to prophesy about the year, I said, God said it all began in 2008. I know you didn't say that. I know you didn't see that. But we were on at the same time. So that is wild. That is out of this world. And I like how when I asked you this question about what's the future financially, the Spirit took you right into talking about sowing and the teruma, because those are the things that changed my life. And those that are in my Patreon, they have been sustained through the pandemic by sowing and the teruma.
Yeah. And it's so what's happening to 22/22. Let me just say this about prophecy. When the prophetic word happens, and I need to go ahead and say this, when God gives the prophetic word and it happens, sometimes you look for something spectacular to happen on that day and it don't, because it's already happening in the heavenlies. Let me give you an example. The angel leaves heaven for Daniel's prayer, but Daniel don't see it until 21 days later. But the angel left on the day
that he prayed.
But the word of the Lord showed up on a particular day. I had a person that said they had gotten a prophetic word. I told them that there was going to be a financial breakthrough on this particular day. The day came. It was after 5 o'clock. The postman had already delivered. It did what it's supposed to do. That day went by. That week went by. They says, Master Prophet, the word did not come to pass. It just seemed like it didn't work out. I says, well, I don't know. I heard the Lord says the breakthrough was on that day. Come to find out, the check was written on that day, but it went to the wrong address.
Yeah.
They never updated the address with it. But because it doesn't land the way you think it lands, it's there. And you're going to eventually look back and say, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this is just the way the Lord said it.
Yeah.
It's up to you to discover it. So I wanted to say this. So 2008, the change had already begun.
Mm-hmm.
We're now in 2022, which is what, 14 years later? I don't know, what 2008, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, 14. Yeah, about 14 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Here, this change is already beginning.
Mm-hmm.
A Black president for the first time in America. Change. Then we swing to the other end and get a Donald Trump right after that change. So now you're getting the best out of each culture. And all of a sudden, Donald Trump comes and pulls back America's soar of racism rises.
Mm-hmm.
White supremacy is coming into positions of power and showing it's almost like it empowered this element. They start storming the White House on January 6th as they're coming to the conclusion of this next area of change. Here you now hear for the first time, and we were prophesying about this in the beginning of the pandemic, about the Civil War. You're hearing them in the nation talk about we are looking at something like a civil war that's going on. That's taking place. Now you get a president coming into office, and you see the president, a white male, a Black woman as the vice president. You're scratching your head now and saying, what in Jesus' name is going on? 2022, February 22, 2022 is going to be the year, not the year, but the decade of Black women coming into power and being empowered in America. Watch what begins to hold the key to what is going to happen. It's going to take place. It's already happening in the White House. It's getting ready to take place in the not only in the political arena. It's going to happen in the area of the justice system. It's going to take place. So all of a sudden, this key is getting ready to be passed, and the baton once again. Now, don't ask me. I cannot explain it. I can't describe it. All I can tell you is that there is something that is emerging that you're going to have to prepare for. You're also in 2022, this year, as it relates to tomorrow, is going to be a judgment on banking systems. We are beginning to see this in the whole business sector. Judgment on banking systems. I want anyone to type in right now, a judgment is coming to banking system. And God bless you, Crystal Peters said sold to $22.22, done. And Crystal Peeler, something is happening for you in a work situation. I want you to write down the 3 jobs that you want, because God is going to put you in a steady situation and you're going to be able to create a new income for yourself. And that's the word of the Lord. Now, the judgment in the banking system, because the banking system has redlined in Black people and have robbed, the banking system has been oppressive. There's getting ready to be a liberating element that's coming, and I'm going to tell you what it's going to be called. It's going to be cryptocurrency. It's crypt time. Cryptocurrency. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. It's going to be the decentralization of money. And watch this. And we all know that the price of gold is getting ready to skyrocket. We're going to go into one of the greatest recessions that's ever been. Now, I had a dream, and I told y'all about the birds falling out of the sky. right? I've said on your platform, is that right, Larry?
Yes, sir.
Did we not see these birds falling out of the sky about a week ago?
Yes. They've been following since you said it, but the one that had the biggest coverage was this last time.
Yeah, this last one was like, if y'all, right, because they've been falling out of the sky. They were doing some in Europe and some other places. But
And
this last
flu, you spoke of the bird flu. You know, I remember. I'm sorry to cut through, but when you read out of the judgment book, what part was that, Nancy? Was it 12? You read out of the judgment book, and then you talked about a disease showing up in the birds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, all of that starting for they keep finding. In fact, they found a group of birds. I forgot what state it was. That was behind a house. 25 birds, 20-something birds, and all of them was positive for a bird flu. This happened last week.
Yeah.
So this keeps showing up over and over and over again. It was spoken right here.
Exactly. So the Lord says, when this starts to happen, your air quality will not be good, and the virus is getting ready to take on a new form. Last week, they found Omicron in deers in New York State, which means now the virus is starting to mutate in animals, which was not happening before.
Yeah.
So there is something that's happening now that's widespread that we've got to get ourselves prepared for. So cryptocurrency, the decentralization of money, people will be able to do things with circumventing and going around banking institutions that they have known, that has been redlined and has been used to undo the Black community and have not served our people. We're getting ready to see that coming under judgment.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a season now that judgment is coming, where it is going to be destructive and created in the same cycle. Mm-hmm. That one thing will be destroyed because something new is being created. It is going to be the time of the great implosion. There's going to be the pulling down of structures right before our eyes and the emerging of new structures. Look at what's happened with the post office and with email. Look at what's happening in malls. You know, you go walk through malls, a third of the stores are gone, and things are being done online. Look at what has happened in the auto industry. Amen. Look at what has happened to yellow cabs in New York, which would not pick up Black people.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you got Uber and Lyft. In other words, systems that are going to emerge that does not see race.
Yeah. Or sex.
Or sex, exactly. I was waiting for. Will not see racism or sexism. There's going to be a robotic and artificial intelligence that will not register your race or your sex, but will judge you by the contents of your character and not the color of your skin.
Yeah. Oh my God. Bishop, there's so many things because we don't share what happens on Reformation Prayer Line. You guys need to be in Patreon because you get Raw Bishop and all these other experts. Patreon.com/Larry Reid Live. We have been for, I want to say months, but the patrons can correct me if I am wrong. I have been screaming. I keep getting haunted by the banking system. And I've been saying it over and over. I said, I don't know what I'm saying about banking. I said, but it keeps, every time I'm on the prayer line. And so we'll be praying in the spirit concerning that. I want to ask you a question, and please finish the 222 things you wrote down. When we say sexism and the marginalized, I didn't hear you say anything about the LGBTQAI plus community.
Oh, yes.
Can you?
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So there's going to be the undoing of all these oppressive forces that has been covertly done and overtly done. Mm-hmm. This is where we're saying now patriarchy is going to be under judgment, because where it should have been a freeing element, it's been an oppressive element. So it is not going to undo sexism and racism, but all of the things that's dealing with homophobic and transphobic type of situations. That's the next thing. This is why now we're looking at these nouns being given in order to say, what do you identify as? Now watch this. I understand your theology. I'm a Bible-toting Christian. I get all that. But we are in an age that has come that we're going to have to revisit Sodom and Gomorrah. And the thing that we're going to have to revisit is that why was Sodom destroyed? It wasn't destroyed because of the sodomy that was there. It was destroyed because he couldn't find 10 righteous.
Righteous. And that has everything to do with rightness and justice. This is mind blowing. And one of the things that I hate to go to this, and you can back out of this if you want to, but I'm going to be mean.
Yes.
You have always spoke straight and said things that have just troubled religious people. You sat on a platform, which was my platform last July, with Bishop Yvette Flunder and Bishop Carlton Pearson, who speak in the world of, humanizing the LGBTQA plus community and forcing the church to have the community about the oppression in the church. You were reprimanded by the College of Bishops. If you are Black, you were pretty much reprimanded, requested to be on the board, and then de-requested to be on the board because you sat on my platform with Bishop Yvette Flunder and Bishop Carlton Pearson. So with that being said, and I may say more about what I know, not from you, but what I know later on another show. With that being said, is the College of Bishops and the church at large in a situation now to where they must or being forced to have that conversation, or will they be?
Yes, they got to have the conversation has been sitting there since the inception of the college. And they took a person like our beloved brother, Bishop Carlton Pearson, and made him an anathema. And the only thing he was pretty much saying was that we need to know that Jesus loves all of these individuals and they are included too. Now, I'm not sitting here and advocating, I'm sitting here and saying, how do you take a brother that takes a stand of love for a community that you may be having problems loving and going to turn around and make them an anathema instead of making them a saint because they're not holding up this here theology that judges and put people in hell. And what is sad about this is that one of my last conversations with Bishop Ellis is that he was making a request of me. So when I got the invitation, I thought clearly it was a response to what he had spoken to me before he left out of here. And then to be invited and then be told, not at this time. It took me about 2 days to kind of get my soul together. And you talk about doing the work. I was livid because I was one of the men that was in the limousine when this was formed. So I was with all the men that had formed this and knew why they was forming it and what the college, what the intention of it was to be about. And it was not only just to bring the Black church to a place of relevance so that we would not look like clowns in the clergy, because at that time we were wearing clergy collars, some of us, that matched the colors of our shoes, because we didn't even know what these colors meant. So they brought about an education. They were needed for a time that has come. And if it was not for Bishop Ellis, Bishop Roy E. Brown, Archbishop Roy E. Brown, Archbishop Ellis, Archbishop McKinley, coming together to make this so, the Black church, the Black Pentecostal church, would have missed a moment. I'll say it like that. One of my things have been is that in this, I think for it to be a Black Pentecostal church, Black Pentecostal Bishops College, where has been the prophetic element, the prophet? And I says, you know, when we wear the shamir, that's supposed to be the prophet's coat. We are not hearing the prophet, and the prophet has got to be something more than just a preacher. You can't just tell me a person preaching is a prophet, because they may have the word of God that is written, but we need people that are prophets that can lead us through a pandemic. We got to have people that lead us as a prophet that says there's coming to be a famine in the land, and the man that owns this girdle shall be back. We need prophetic voices that would move the church through. Here's the problem with our community. When we find true voices, we either choose to ignore them or push them in the margins so that they don't have the kind of platform to reach the people. This is where you became a saint. You've opened up your platform and said, let's hear the word of the Lord. And then, of course, there are people that have come and gathered and followed. Yeah. But yet, our own brethren that know, I made a statement to someone that was on the board. I said, who stood for me? I said, just about 90% of you all know me on that board. You had an opportunity to stand for a prophet. And some of you I've given honorariums to, some, not all, some, a couple. I blessed you. I said, my concern was, let's say I was wrong. Who stood for my character? You know, who stood and says, we may not understand him, but that's a prophet. We need him in the community. And then if you stood, then how come your voice wasn't strong enough to bring about an influence? So again, it grieved me because I felt like we're missing another chapter and we're going to miss it again at the next curve. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm 62. I just don't have the fight in me anymore. I was hurt for a moment because I was there at the beginning with our fathers. And I love my fathers.
I want to say this. We're not, if they're going to miss it, but we here, there are 4,250 of us watching right now live because of who you are and what you have given unto us. We're not going to miss it. What you are saying and doing, we know you are our college of bishops. You are our bright light shining, leading us. To us, you are the future.
You know, but there's so many in our community, and we got to watch that we don't become the privilege, right? That discount those that don't have eyes to see. I am looking for the individual, and I've told one or two, I says, I want to know who pulled up the video about me speaking on the platform with you and Bishop Flunder. I just want to know, because I said it's not going to go well with them, whoever pulled it up. I says, find out who that person is. I mean, it's not going to go well with them. I give them 2 years. It's not going to go well with them. But this is why it's not going to go well. I says, because you don't get to tell a prophet what stage they stand on. Because a prophet has to go. I was on that stage because I was sent by God, not because I was looking for a platform, needed a platform. I heard the voice of God. And there are people, when the Lord sent me to Reverend Ike, my archbishop was getting all kinds of calls. Why is Bishop Jordan having Reverend Ike on his platform? Why is Bishop Jordan, why is Bishop Jordan? Why is Bishop Jordan? And I left Pilgrim Church because I felt like, now Archbishop never told me to stay away from Reverend Ike. He never did. He just kept saying, these people are calling me. Certain presiders was calling him. Why is it? And my words were, I'm going to leave Pilgrim because the skirt of the organization was not long enough to cover the work that I needed to do as a prophet. And for that reason, if the board is going to be run like a Sunday school, then I'm not to be a part of it, because we've got a much larger world to speak on. Because I speak on a community where they are inclusive and begin to see people as
human
people and not see them as their sexual orientation. Because if we really went into this, and my eyes are open, if we really go into this kind of gospel is needed for the church leadership from the top all the way down.
Let me say it Larry live way. There are many that are on the page of the College of Bishops who are same gender loving. How I know, because I have your video with the same sex. So the hypocrisy.
I gotta get a drink of water.
The hypocrisy is not going. Now, your business is your business, but when you are wanting to judge others by something you enjoy privately, you are a hypocrite. And it sounds like to me the word of the Lord 2:22:22 is going forward is not just the reform or the deconstruction is what you would describe. You said that tear it down and that new raising up politically, financially, but it's also in the church. That's what my ears hear.
Yeah. So again, I don't have the bandwidth. I mean, after that, I was asked to speak. I chose rather to decline because at this point, I now don't want to serve with people that I don't know who to trust. Because it's just very clear. And then if that was the case, it would have been good to have said, let's have, kind of conversation. And so then it's got to kind of leak out, like this here, it's just horrible. But listen, what we're getting ready to look at in 2022, radical breakdown. And I think this is one of the things that we're looking at, the radical breakdown.
Radical breakdown. Wow, that's the whole word.
Now, radical breakdown, watch this, of the things that don't work. I wrote this down today. And radical breakdown of the things that don't have the foundational value that it should have for this day. So everything that does not fit this day that we're now living in into the new America is going to radically break down and is going to deconstruct. That's why you're now looking at, listen, people are resigning from jobs. They're calling it this the great resignation. Why is it? Because this kind of work schedule is no longer working for me. 9 to 5 does not work for me, and me dropping my kid off at the babysitter at 6 a.m. in the morning, being somewhere, somebody's desk at 7, trying to go home. It's not working for me. Guess what? I'm resigning, and I'll work from home. It is the day now of everything that does not work. And there are going to be people that's going to say, you know what? This brick and mortar is not working for me anymore. I'm not coming back to church. I don't care if you can only get the virus 1 out of 10,000. There's some people won't go back to church. Why? Because now they found works and ways to get ministered to without sitting in that limited mindset. So I want everybody to type in radical breakdown. And when this radical breakdown begin to come, because it's already starting, there's going to be no end to it. But as there is radical breakdown, there's going to be radical reconstructions that's taking place as well.
So that's the process of deconstruction.
Yes.
That you know what? You guys are so blessed tonight. This is what I get to experience in a phone conversation anywhere from 12 to 2, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is what we get to experience. I share with my partners in Patreon, my high donors. I'll be sharing with them the 16th through the 19th in Miami. Bishop, please don't forget that. They got to be on your calendar at Roslyn's.
I will be there.
This is, Bishop, you're a jewel. And I know I brought you into that conversation and you probably weren't expecting it, but let me tell you why.
No, and I wasn't, Larry. I was not expecting.
Because we talk about everything.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting that. But I want to say something to you. I wasn't expecting it. I probably would have never have discussed that. But the fact that you brought it up, you're hearing information as well, and it was over a month before I discussed it with anyone. I didn't even go into it with my wife because I didn't. Something's happening with that's my grandson.
KJ,
it moved by itself. He says it moved by itself. Okay, KJ, focus. This is my oldest grandson. Got the third generation in technology. What I would not have discussed that. I would have never gone on a platform publicly discussed it, really. And I would have just let it be. But the fact that it came up, I had to dance with the conversation. And yet there will be individuals that will be ministered to by what they heard. Because some people say, we didn't even know that even happened. And they didn't. And it's okay, because at some point it is going to come out. And I want to just say this, there's no need to be angry. I'm cleared. I just speak from a place of clarity. I will always have Bishop Pearson as a friend of mine, because again, he led us into the Azusa revival that, whether it's Azusa Revisited, he brought together the black and white church, amen, in terms of Pentecost. He got a lot of people on stages that would have never gotten on stages before. And I want to honor you for having him on such a stage, because you got to give honor to who honor is due. That is still a general in our community.
He's our history.
Yes, he is. And we've got to control that. And if we throw away our wounded, it's one thing for our oppressors. They went after him and talked about him for about 2 years in a Christian paper, and we as Black people signed off on it. We should have said, no, he's one of our own. He will forever be our own. And we should have never let him go bankrupt, hurt financially, because his family takes a toll of that. And for you to sit by as a preacher, to know that happened with another preacher, when he got attacked like that, I went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and stayed with him for 6 weeks, and stayed with him, stayed with his church, because I know what it was to get attacked. And if we don't know how to treat our wounded, there's something about you that is not human. And then if you can comfortably beat up on same gender loving people, you need another love walk and need to be introduced to God all over again. Because I'm telling you, you are not only missing it, but you may be becoming part of the problem, that when something happens to a person, you'll begin to blame it on their sexual orientation or a choice that they made, and it has nothing to do with that at all. We have yet to answer the situation with HIV and AIDS, which is the plague of its day. And because we've been silent about it, we got COVID. You're going to have to answer the plague of your day.
Jesus Christ, Bishop. You give me chills when you talk sometimes. But I had to bring it up because it's the work that I do. And I know you trust me. And it pissed me off. But I'm not going to take it the way I would do it, the way I'm going to do it when you're not on the show. But we discussed a lot of things. You've shared things with me that were close to your heart, but I knew that was going on and you didn't utter a word to me about it. And then lightly, when you started speaking about it, you just spoke surface. And I know you enough to know, and even when you was talking earlier, I can see they hurt you. That I want to fight. I didn't know the way I can put it, and so I wanted to be this because I wanted these 4,340 people between Facebook and YouTube that follow the LRL platform who love Bishop Jordan to see what he still suffers because of his prophetic stand and his righteous stand for social justice, equality, and equity. We have got to let this man know how much that we love him. And I know you have told everybody to sow into MBN Network. Thank you so very much. But we got to give you something. I saw your Cash App the other day. I don't think it can get no more money in it. But I started to grab your phone empty at one time. So he don't know what to do with things. It's $ my Archbishop. I want y'all to type that in there, and I want everybody, every single person. I know you done gave $222.22 to MBN Network, but I want you to do something. I want you to send it to my bishop, and I want you to know exactly. I'm going to start it off with $2,222.22. Send something to $, not £. Rosalind, you was a whole stock market queen, and you talking about £. What you would have did that? So did. Look at that, Rosalind. What you doing?
leave our heiress alone.
I want y'all to blow that Cash App up. And I know some of you don't have Cash App. So Bishop, what is, you can do is PayPal, Bishop Jordan at ZoeMinistries.com. Ask me how I know.
Wow, Larry, you really know this. I like I said, and I said it before, I thank God for you, because I think at a point where I started, now this is a typical example of what our elders will do, or make-believe elders. People told me, stay away from Larry Reid. And I was like, no, I said, the Lord's assigned me to him. Because I went to you and I told you, this is Larry, I'm supposed to mentor you. And I know that was a strange thing for you. You just like, hold on. But then I told you about 2006 or so, or back then. And I didn't even know, I said, you need to be up here in the mountain with me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know you.
Yeah.
Because we have never seen each other. And then we reconnected. And I always say Archbishop Brown gave you to me as a gift because of the way they were treating his widow. And that's how I got to connect with you. But I wanted to say this. Had I listened, the church would not have known about the pandemic. To me, that's a false prophet.
Okay, now Bishop Jordan is here tonight.
See, that's a false prophet. The false prophet is the people that told you, Larry, watch out for Jordan, be careful for Jordan. No, that's the false prophet. That's the witch. That's the warlock. It's not the ones that are doing the work. And I remember someone came to me recently because I said to them, I says, no, I'm supposed to be. And they came to me and they says, Bishop, we don't want you to hurt your brand. You're just beginning to be, the church is just beginning to accept you and like you. And now you're with Larry, like, Bishop, come on. I says, no, I know what I heard. I says, give me 2 years and let's see what God does. And sure enough. And it blesses me today. I mean, people said to me, watch out for Reverend Ike. I said, the Lord told me to walk with him. And now they're watching his videos all over. And I remember Reverend Ike said to me, he said, son, I will be teaching the church from the other side. I said, what are you talking about, Reverend? He says, I'm leaving all of this stuff. I'm leaving it for y'all. and he gave me all of his sermons. I have all of his notes and everything. He was still writing sermons when he wasn't going to the pulpit and just giving me notes. And there's a book that we wrote together. And he says, make a promise that you will not release this book until after I leave the earth. And I have that book sitting here, and it's called Unhappening the Past. And I really need to go ahead and release it. But he said, I will be teaching from the other side. There was no YouTube and stuff around here like that. Now I get people sending me almost every other day a link. I'm watching Reverend Iger. Oh, the one that y'all said was a devil? The one y'all told me to stay away from?
Right.
Watch this. Reverend Ike used to say to me, he says, son, when you have the goods and the grains, people will put scarecrows up around you. And so there it is. And so when they told me to stay away from you, I said, nah. I've been down this road before.
Yeah.
I've been down this road.
Yeah.
And then
it was my first time. And of course, I had someone, it's my platform, I can say it now. There was a guy named Baisley, I guess, that was really close to you or in your ministry or something.
Oh, yeah, he used to travel with me.
This man called me for 6 months, Bishop. When you first came into my life and I was public about it, stay away from him, telling me this horrible stuff until one day I said to him, I said, listen, if any of what you're saying is true, I said, I think the Lord would have showed me by now. I said, and plus the way that I just am, I would have gotten into all of that. I said, but whatever I said to him and closed the conversation, he never called me back again at all.
Yeah.
So,
I clothed him and fed him and slept him in accommodations that was better than what he came out of, knew his whole family. Yeah, that was Basil. But see, this is the thing that we go through that we probably bring in our documentary.
mm-hmm.
The people that you feed, help, support are the people that come and become backstabbers. And not only backstabbers, but Bishop McKinley made me understand something. Archbishop Wilbur Sterling McKinley, who laid hands on me. And so the three men that laid hands on me to become a bishop was Archbishop Roy Brown, Archbishop McKinley, and Archbishop Ellis. So that's why this was so sentimental to me, because these are my father's work. So when I was invited, I was like, okay, I'll get to do something for our community, and let's raise it to where it needs to be. So my heart was open with joy. Not that I needed to be on another board. My heart was open with joy. And then when I got that letter back, it felt like someone took a knife and said, right in my heart. And I took the letter and put it behind the portrait of my father's. And I said, I'm going to leave it here. But it took me 2 days to get that worked out of my heart, that I would not become bitter. And I had to just get myself healed and find safe places to work that out. And that's why I can speak from this here without malice. And at this point, it is what it is. And these were the men that laid hands on me. And to do that, I think if anything, people should have discerned, where did this man come from? Who was he? And before they just did that. And that's why it says the church has been good at throwing away great people without discerning who people are in their bodies. And I'm going to find out who found that video, and it's not going to go well for them. I feel like there's 2 people that's involved. We're going to find out. And I'm not going to do anything personally, but I'm going to take their names and bury it in a flower pot. Okay, and love on them as we wave goodbye.
Oh, wow. Bishop, tonight, oh my God. Every time we do this, I'll be like, this is the best one. I don't know. it gets, what they say in the country is gooder and gooder. So many things that you share with us tonight. We're going to wake up tomorrow like it's the beginning of a new period, a new era, a new epoch. We're going to wake up with an awareness, I think, that this is the beginning of America's reckoning from this point on. And deconstruction is happening all around for the purpose of renaissance and rebirth. So once again, I'm so glad you laid down for hours today listening to the voice of the Lord. Okay, it was very potent and powerful. I want y'all in the chat to let Bishop know exactly how you feel about him. I also want you to do it through your monetary gift. He was not expecting that. I'm making sure, hold on, Coach. I'm going to do my Cash App right now because folks say they're going to give something and be lying. I had a whole line of liars at my Reformation last year giving all these vows they said they're going to do. Just tell lies. So, go ahead and do my $2,222.22 right now too. And I love that y'all made this Cash App name, My Archbishop. Because in my eyes, you're the only one. Anyway, so we just good. I know you ain't no one. I'm just saying. So I'm sending mine with a heart in the note. So you know that's. Let me know when you get it, Bishop. See if you got it. Go. Oh, I done exceeded for the week. Let me do through. Let me go through PayPal. Wait a minute. I done exceeded because they won't let you send out for $7,500 a week. Let's see. I'm gonna go to your Cash App, your PayPal email, Bishop Jordan at ZoeMinistries.com. You'll see when I send it in, right?
Yes, I get it, Larry. And these people are sowing it like it brings tears to my eyes. I mean, because every one of them, I'm gonna call out their name tonight.
Yeah, on your line. Yeah,
I'm calling out their names tonight. I have a covenant with God, and I call out these individuals' names, and so many people did. You know, like I see Nikita Hightower. I wonder if she has 2 children. Something about children in her life. See, when I see a name, I get a picture.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I can't help it. That's just the prophetic in us. And so I want to just thank God for you, and the Lord blesses you all 1,000 times more than you already are. And we decree that Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 11. And my prayer is, Larry, that we get it together as fathers, that we don't fail our children. I mean, I have some of my children that are wayward, but I still love them. I will always be their father.
Yeah.
You know, I will always be, and have family. Thank you, Rosalind. She went and did $2,222.22.
That's right. That's my sister.
Yeah, thank you, Rosalind. We got your seed, and so many of you. So there's a lot of things.
For mine, I didn't have my name. I'm gonna start feeling a certain kind of way.
It just showed. Her showed up at 10:02. I don't know
she beat me then. She beat me.
She beat you, yeah. So it's still coming. They're still coming through it. I'm just getting my phone's just constantly. It's 10:12 now, so it will be popping up, and
let me put it on the screen because people still asking what it is. My $, my Archbishop.
Wow, Larry, I didn't expect this. This is so humbling.
It was the start. There was something. You remember when I was? You remember we was trying to go live? I said, I don't know if you heard me say this. Latrey was in here. Can you hear me when I said that? I said, I know what's going on, and I know exactly why I'm having this difficulty, and I'm going to say it at the top of the show. And I came in giving him all these accolades. That's what it was. So then when we got down in the prophetic and we dropped in that situation, there was a look I saw in his eye. I knew him. So I said, that hurt him. I wonder why he didn't tell me that. I said, it must really bother him.
Oh, Larry, I was trying to keep that away from you. I didn't even want you to know. I
got moles.
Listen, I'm gonna show you the. You know what it was? I was so embarrassed, because I really stood for that the college would work. After our fathers closed their eyes, because all of our fathers are gone, all the originals are gone. I stood that it would work, and I know you and I had these discussions, and you pretty much was like, Bishop, you need to go and move on. And I said, no, I was still going every year for the last couple of years after I got back with Pilgrim, and Archbishop Brown, I would try to get him to go. He says, I'm not going. I'm not fooling with it. He had his feelings about he didn't get over something that happened. And so most of our bishops would not go as a result of that. And I tried to get Bishop to the final one because Bishop Ellis had really wanted him there. And I was like the go-between. I was going between, and it ended up becoming about a 4-hour lecture from my Archbishop to me. And I got the whole lesson about, he took me through the last 50 years of their lives together. And I heard a lot. So there was a lot I had to process in that because these were my fathers. So when that happened and they closed their eyes, I was sure that Bishop Ellis had mentioned to them what his intentions were. And then I just thought, I says, wow, that was an opportunity. And that would be the only reason I would have gone back and served. And I think that if anybody had any discernment to know the gift that I would have brought to that table and to that body, would have been priceless because they never could have paid for it.
Yeah.
But it was just a missed opportunity. So I had to just resolve it. So when I got the letter, I stuffed it. I held it. I read it. I must have read it about 4 or 5 times. And then I wouldn't tell my wife about it. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't even tell none of the adjutants around me about it because I didn't want them to start them circulating, because see, adjutants has a whole nother conversation.
A whole nother system.
And then the adjutants would have started finding out what happened, and they would have went to the different people, adjutants, and and they would have started, it would have started a whole. So I wanted to like really keep it calm. And then I had wanted to tell you, I says, I can't tell Larry this. I says this. So it didn't leak out until maybe a few weeks ago or so, about a month or so ago. And then now when I was asked, it was in the month of August. At the same time, my mother was dying because I was asked when I had gotten COVID. And then a board member says, we want your bio, we want all your information. And then they says, well, we already know who you are. We got your information. And they got it. And so that happened. My mother passed. This was in August. And then when I got that letter back around September, when it's hard to explain that pain. But I said, I got to shake myself at that. And then I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't discuss it for a minute because I didn't want to come from a space. And then when I just got up enough nerve in December for the first time to talk about it, when I got a call from one of the board members, and they pretended to be blindsided about it. They will say they didn't know, but I don't know how you can be on a board and not know about that. And then they connected me with another board member, and then that became another long conversation. And then that's when I heard about you were on something with Larry Reid, and I says, y'all got to tell me y'all are kidding. I says, please tell me y'all are kidding. And then I started making, so it's just.
So you got the letter to be invited to be on the board in what month?
I got a conversation, I got a call, and I had gotten a call from 2 board members, and to be on the board. Well, first it was Bishop Pat McKinstry who had invited me, and she was so warm about it. She says, I don't know why, they were looking for board members or whatever to be on. She says, you were one of the original ones. I says, yeah, I was there with them in the beginning. Just kind. Mother Prophetess Pat McKinstry is, she's a woman of God. That's all I can say. She's a godly woman. She's come and spoke with us at the prophetic college. And so then the next person, I will remain nameless, called and said, we need your information, and your bio. And then after that, he says, okay, we'll get all that. And I felt like we've had a great relationship. I ministered to them. They've been to, one of my homes before. I thought it was a great relationship. And it may have been a great relationship. I don't know what happened because I still don't have the inside scoop of what really took place. But my question is, y'all know me. Why didn't you stand for me? Because this is the same mess that happened at Charisma. Y'all don't stand for your people. Y'all don't stand. And I don't think that the college is going to work because when that college started, in a way, it was very fraternal. And it's missing the fraternity that is necessary. In order to get an organization moving, there needs to be a brother and a sisterhood. There needs to be a fraternity. It's missing a connection that is necessary to pull the synergy and to pull that next generation of bishops in and to begin to wrap their arms. But until they get that, it's going to become extinct.
I want to make sure I'm clear. When they called you to invite you, what month was that?
It was in August because I had COVID.
Yeah. And then when they called you, you got the letter of the rejection was what month?
I'll get the exact date of that letter, but it probably came about a month later, probably because it was after my mother died about a week later. And so there was a lot happening in about September, but I'm going to do better. I'm going to send you a copy of the letter.
That would be great because I posted the video of you, Bishop Flunder, George Bloomer, Bishop Pearson, all of us on the stage last week of August.
Really? See, and when they said something about you were, when it was mentioned about I was with Bishop Flunder, and I was like, I couldn't put everything together. And I thought they were talking about something else because I was supposed to go to a conference that she's having in July.
Yeah. You got her to get back because she's going to put hers on top of mine and the devil is a lie.
Yeah. But I think she tried to make sure that wasn't going to overlap, right?
It is overlap.
Yeah. And she said, and it was very interesting, is that when she called, she says, we need to hear the prophetic voice. We need a prophetic voice. That's what's missing. We need to hear the prophetic word. Would you be open to coming? I says, most definitely. God is there. I mean, why wouldn't God be there to speak? So I was thinking but then I kept, I was so blindsided. I says, well, wait a minute. She's not promoting that yet because I think that's more of a closed meeting.
Mm-hmm. It's just her organization.
Just her organization. And then I said, oh, wait a minute. I says, the thing about Larry Reid, and then something was mentioned about Bishop Bloomer, and then he was questioned about something that Bishop Bloomer made a statement that he did not make there. And I said, why people just make stuff up, Bishop Bloomer? Bishop Bloomer processed things in his own ways. He started speaking in another tongue. Yeah. And Bloomer was livid. So I didn't know that Bloomer was hearing it on that end because he wasn't talking about it. I didn't tell Bloomer. So then after I told Bloomer, I says, well, I got invited and uninvited. And then we ended up having a conversation. He says, you know what? I'm clear and I'm complete.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Bishop, if you even slightly thought about creating any reformation, especially with Bloomer. And I'm gonna tell you what listen. First of all, the College of Bishop will be have seen its great days. Let me say that. I'm not saying it's over, but it's seen its greatest days. Let me tell you, it will be the biggest thing that has happened in the Black church as it relates to reformations. It will be the biggest thing that has ever happened. And I know you're not really thinking like that. And I don't know if I really want you to anyway, because the first thing you try to do is make me the bishop. I done told them demons, excuse me. I done told them no one time before, so, but you're such a joy to me. Listen, you are, look, people are texting me. Dr. Alicia Jones, she's texting. I know she don't care if I said. She said, the College of Bishop has lost its relevance. Now, this is one of the greatest Black minds that I have ever met.
Yeah. She's a musicologist. And when I went to Rome, and we had an opportunity to have an audience with the Pope, and the Pope said to me, tell the leaders, tell the bishops and the leaders back in America to please pray for me. Right. And I knew Bishop Ellis had come and they had brought a group of bishops there. And I said, this would be such an education for us to do a journey on church history, again, with the African Americans as bishops, to begin to go and just look at, okay, we're not trying to get you to become Roman Catholics or Catholics, but just to look at the structure of the church, because you have money for so many things. Let's do some pilgrimages, whether it be to Rome or be to some of the great churches, and visit these structures to look at what was, and then look to see what you can bring back to your community here, and to look at what is liturgy. Why is the Eucharist is the center of their worship? And then what does the liturgy mean? And then we can start wrestling out something, because we have a generation that only takes communion once a year, So they're sitting here discussing about same-gender loving people. We have a group of people that has forsaken the body and the blood of Jesus. So,
oh my God,
let's reconnect here and bring together a platform that can unite us around something. And if it's not around theology, then we can at least come together for history and make it a historical moment. And so I'm in discussion with some people, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we can get 500 bishops and clergy and have a convention there in Rome and give people a reason to leave, and have service there, and probably get an audience to start bridging a connection with our Pentecostal faiths and the church universal, and understand that we need to start building with other reformations, whether it is Reform, whether it's Episcopals, and just start building, so that we're not this little group that speak in tongues with each other and that's it. But we need to be at places where our mayors are speaking, our governors are speaking, and we need to either get a seat at the table or start becoming a strong enough body where we create tables where they want to meet with us. That is the direction I really want to see take place.
And this is that last few minutes, this is what the College of Bishops missed out on. Now, I do know a few people, Dr. Pat McKinstry. I can't speak for her from knowing her. Always been chill, always been cool. But I can't really, I know some of the rest of them are there just by name or maybe a conversation here and there. But this is what I say to the whole entire work, and I want you to hear me clearly. And this might not be for everybody, but it's for everybody that has something to do concerning my bishop. It's a forever fruck ya. It's a forever fruck ya. Fruck you, fruck you, fruck you, fruck you. Fuck you and your whole family too. Oh, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you and your whole family too.
Oh my goodness.
And we thank them. Y'all broke anyway. Did y'all do 10 million, 12 million last year personally, like my bishop, and in the ministry, millions upon millions of millions last year? No. So he don't need to be on your platform. No, we just want to come out there and give an offering because y'all broke. No, he's not coming. No. What's the word? What's the what was the word? The song of the Lord? It just came. Fuck you. Help me. Fuck you. Oh, fuck you. Oh, fuck you and your whole family too. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, fuck you and your whole family too. Ooh, hallelujah. Oh, yes. Thank you, Jesus. This is still the Larry Live platform, although this is a prophetic night. It's still the Larry Live platform. Oh, yes, it is. And we thank you.
And this is why I stay on my knees and pray. I think this is why. And this is why I took that letter and I says, I didn't want to. I don't even think I even had the conversation with Bishop Pearson yet. I didn't even tell him.
I need that letter. Now, just out now. So give me the letter. I'm posting the picture.
I'm gonna send you the letter. I'm gonna send you the letter this week.
Thank you. If I don't get it by Friday, I catch a plane and I come in there and look through there. If it's behind the picture, what's the name? That means it's in Saddle River. Never mind. If you don't give it to me, I'll get it anyway.
And it was so bad that when it happened, I had a dream, and the dream was really interesting. And I said, I gotta get this thing out of my spirit. And one of the I'm not gonna go into it here, but I had a dream, and I had to really get peace about this. But we may be seeing a part of what's happening with America. It's happening with our churches. And we've got to get ready because new leadership must arise in our churches to meet the demand of the day.
You said that we need the difference between a black leader and a leading black.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're a black leader.
Yeah. See, there are leaders that's been made by the establishment. They're made blacks in order to support oppression. And then there's leaders that are not made by the establishment that is leading. That's a leader. And I think that you've got to ask yourself the question, who have you been made by? That's why the documentary has to be paid for by us. I don't need my oppressor doing the documentary because they'll determine where it starts. And then it will start somewhere at Faith Fellowship in a white evangelical church with me starting to prophesy there. And the thing grew into intercessory prayer. And it would start there. But no, this here documentary needs to start in a Black Sunday school in the urban setting where I had a disease in my feet and I had a stuttering tongue and couldn't speak a complete sentence. And there the Lord appeared to me. And then when I left the church I was born in, my first pastor was Apostle Johnny Washington that preached deliverance and holiness. And that is where my prophetic ministry began to take off. And I began to be known as a prophet in the local church in my community.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
When you think it's going to be done by your birthday?
Yeah, it's going to be aired on June the 11th. We're going to do the documentary. It's going to be done that day. We have individuals that are They were talking last night about doing the soundtrack for it, so that's going to be happening. We did speak to Kurt Carr. He did agree that he would come, and we're working on some other artists.
Can I? I mean, I know you got to talk to your team, but I would like to stream it on my platform after your birthday.
Oh, Larry, you can stream it on your birthday. The Patreons will definitely, because I'm looking to, we're believing God that on that day we'll have about more than 3,000 people there. It's going to go forth. You're going to see, and the title of the documentary is going to be America's Black Prophet, which you have told me.
Excuse me a minute. Thank you so much. My name is Larry D. Reid, and guess it's me that named this documentary. Am I going to be introduced? And I'm practicing right now. That named this documentary. So this is all my work. Thanks.
Yes. A matter of fact, sitting in the living room with me right here is the producer, Zulu. He's right here with me, who has his own studio here in Manhattan. And this film is going to be amazing. And it's going to end up becoming a docuseries because it's going to cover so much of the start of America's Black Prophet, his process of what he's had to gone through. And you're probably going to bear witness of the hands that have been laid on me. But there's part in that documentary now, I got to put in there the rejection from the board of the hands of those that have.
See, but that was in Carlton Pearson's Netflix movie. So there's a pattern here.
Yeah, the college keeps rejecting its own prophets that lives in a future. See, we lead from a future. Now today, all these churches are being politically correct and they don't preach against homosexuality like they used to. I mean, they used to say, you're going to hell. I mean, they used to be the highlight of the top in the 80s, 90s. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. Now, they'll put the homosexual in hell, but they won't put the fornicator.
Yeah.
I mean, like, really? Like, what are we saying here? And these are people that had whole babies and didn't marry the mothers that they had. And when you begin to look at the scripture, if a person had a child out of wedlock, now we're talking about pastors, that child could not enter into the temple for 10 generations. That's why David said, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord, because he was the 10th generation that was able to enter back into the temple because of 10 generations back the way he was born. But we had whole preachers that got children of mothers listen, I can't. And with me, because I happen to share on a platform, you're gonna, I'm the husband of one wife. I've been married for 42 years. I love my wife. My wife. I love my wife.
One woman. And can't nobody say they was out sleeping with Jordan.
Yeah,
do you think, and this is just me thinking, that maybe they wanted to separate you from me and or me from you, or create some kind of derision in our relationship?
Larry, well, that would never happen. I am not. People that known me for years, or hopefully just come across in a documentary. Once I'm with you, you don't have to worry about me. You'll leave me before I will leave you. I'm loyal, and even when I left, even when I had stepped away from Pilgrim, there's not one person that could said anything I said bad about the bishop, anything I had to say concerning him. And when I asked to come back, he welcomed me back with open arms, and I stepped back in and supported him as if I was trying to make up for the time of the years that I were away. That's just who I am. And no one can get me to separate from you. No one can get me to separate from Bishop Pearson. When Bishop Pearson was going to the College of Bishop and they were frying him, and I knew the people that was there, I walked in the door with him and sat next to him and went and had dinner with him afterwards. After Archbishop Ellis said that he is to be made an anathema, I said, my God, they've cursed the man because he loved the LGBTQIA community. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. This has been so good. We're going on and on. You got to go get on your line too, ain't you?
It's too. I won't go on tonight. They're probably all over here watching this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this is great. Thank you. But thank you for trusting me to be on your platform, because I'm sure people told you, says, be careful of Bishop Jordan.
Oh,
and but we already see where God has been in this relationship and not through with the relationship.
Yeah.
And I like to say this: the greater your rejection, the greater your anointing.
Ooh.
And I get it. So I love my brethren, I love my sisters. There will be a day, I'm sure, if it be still in existence in the next 3 years, hopefully I'll be able to go and walk through the doors and fellowship. But just at this time, it's going to need a touch of God. And then I did say these words. I said to one person, I said, I'm going to watch the way y'all handle the widow, because our track record in the Pentecostal church, the way we handle widows, has been horrible.
Yeah.
And maybe y'all will be an example at how you handle the widows and the children, because our presiding bishops, I said, now we're not talking about, you can't treat them like you would treat a pastor from a church, even though they should have the respect. But the way we've been treating establishmentarians that establish the work, and their widows and their children, please set us an example so that the rest of us can follow. And then stop calling those that leave us saying they didn't do the right thing by us. They've all did the best they can do with what they've had to work with. And you don't know what that family may have suffered or went through to get through. You may not agree with them, but if you've had to do anything in ministry like I had, my wife and I went months, if not a year or two, without a salary to see to it that the ministry went on, and so the church can roll on. So sometimes you don't know the sacrifice or the struggle unless you're in the trenches with that man or woman of God.
Okay. All right. This has been great. Bishop, it's been wonderful. Did you get my $2,222.22 on PayPal?
Yeah. Oh, you did on PayPal?
Yeah, it was PayPal because I can't.
Okay. I was looking for it. I was looking for it on Zelle. Let me go to PayPal.
Your Zelle is the same as Bishop Jordan at Zoe Ministry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Larry, of course, I got it, because my PayPal, yes, Doctor. Hold on. Oh my goodness, your people love my PayPal has never been hit up like this. And see, yes, I got it, Larry, with 4 exclamation marks saying "love you." See, that's just why I'm not going on my platform tonight. My members are on here doing this. They're sitting here watching you. Well, we sent it out. This on our page. But Larry, you have done. Thank you. I mean, there's so many people in here. Shucks. Thank you. You help so many people. But listen, you help people here on the platform, and then they stabbed you in your back. I sit there and watched it. You raise money for people and help them. You help them pay another light bill, and then that's just the nature of human people. So
it is.
You just got to make sure you don't get bitter.
Yeah, and I want. So if you're going to donate to my Archbishop, thank you for the Archbishop MBA Network tonight. But I just want him to leave, with feeling a lot of love. $ my Archbishop for Cash App. PayPal, Bishop Jordan at ZoeMinistries.com. And that same email address for PayPal is the same for Zelle. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I'll see you later, Bishop.
I'm going to talk to you later.
All right. Thank you so much.
Love you all. God bless you, L.R. Ellis.
Now listen, Bishop is gone, so now I can cuss. Fuck them. Dizzy broke holes over there at the College of Bishop. I ain't talking about all of them, Pat over there. But fuck y'all. Y'all hoes ain't got no money no darn way. And most of you shape funny. And I want to know if y'all got... I know y'all ain't done no millions upon millions on last week. And they one of y'all up there, I want to say something. Say something. Come say something publicly. Just to give me an opportunity to come out here and be the prophet in media God called me to be. Because I'm going to drag you. I drag you. Drag you. The best I can with the anointing that God has given unto me. You don't mess with my arch. Nah. He ain't had nobody out here fighting in the media before, but thank God for Jesus. And I'm sitting here, this brown-skinned black man with $150,000 worth of diamonds. Oh, actually, excuse me, $250,000 worth of diamonds in my Valentino's track suit will come wherever I gotta come and drag. That's what I do. Don't mess with my Archbishop. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye.